hey, I had to watch the play, and it was worth being a little bit late for a show because the Sabres finally get their first win. Yes, they didn't win the game I was at Monday, and yes, they lost the other two games too. They were 0-3, but they finally got a win, and it was a dominant one too. 8 goals they put up tonight, so I'm definitely in a better mood, this week since the Sabres finally won tonight. Although my Bills, the opposite, disappointing again. They look pretty disappointing. So did Virginia Tech again. So yeah, both teams in the state from Atlanta beat Virginia Tech and the Bills. So yeah, not been a good football weekend. But let's recap some of the games from last week as well before we get into this week's. Just cannot believe it. So yeah, I'll start with Thursday night football last week. The NFL did. And the Eagles folded again. And blew my pick of the week. I cannot believe the Eagles got their ass totally kicked by the Giants. Did not see that one coming. I did not. So that started. So my pick of the week went south. And of course the AM game again. It was very sloppy. It was a very ugly game. It was low scoring, but the Broncos won by 2. I'm glad I took the Jets spread in that pick. The Broncos lucked out in that game. It's the same old Broncos winning these tight games against bad teams. So yeah, that was crazy. That London game was probably the worst one out of the international games by far. Just the scoring, just weird score for sure. Then you also had a bunch of 1:00 games, but the Pittsburgh Steelers looked great. Held the Browns out of the end zone the entire game. So boy, their defense really looked dominant. Coming off the bye week, had so much time to rest coming back from Ireland. And they played against the Browns team who was just so jet lagged, How's everyone doing? Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, Browns were so jet lagged. And they ended up losing. They ended up losing pretty. They didn't score a touchdown one time. You know what? Thanks for tuning in too. That was another one. And of course, the Colts didn't cover the spread. Now I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. I'm in a good mood now because thanks. I need another subscriber. Just keep it boosting because my goal is to hopefully get to 100 eventually. Subscribers. I'm getting there. But yeah, the Colts won a back and forth. I'm 24 right now. gonna be 25 in April Fool's Day. 2026. Sabres killed it, Cuber. That's correct. The Sabres looked amazing tonight. Finally get their first win of the season, but I'm hoping they turn it around after that because they have the Stanley Cup champs next. Come this Saturday, the Sabres do. So I'm happy about that. 4th time was a charm to get a win. But I still cannot believe the Colts, though. It was a back and forth game with the Cardinals. Cardinals without Kyler Murray, they looked really good, actually. I will say their offense looked better. Appreciate that, no, man. Appreciate it, no. Yeah, so, and of course, Daniel Jones finding a way to win another game. Another game-winning drive. So the Colts, off their best start since the Peyton Manning era. And the Rams cover the spread. Originally when my last week I made my picks, I had the Ravens, but now I'm glad I switched it. I heard Lamar was me out again. So yeah, the Rams winning 17-3. Interesting score, but Rams defense dominated. Seattle beat the Jaguars like I figured. I called that one last week. It was kind of a coin flip, but I knew Seattle was going to win this one because I knew Jacksonville was going to have such a letdown game after that win over the Chiefs. I called it last week. Same as the Panthers one. I knew Carolina was going to beat the Dallas Cowboys because it's the most Dallas Cowboys way to do it. Choke a game against a lower level team. Panthers are playing better, don't get me wrong, but just saying, that was the most Dallas Cowboys way of losing a game. Seriously, the Cowboys, worst I think I've seen in a long time. I think they've gotten worse since they traded Micah Parsons away. Their defense is the worst in the league now. So Jerry Jones, you've gone senile. Cowboys are just worse than ever. I just feel it for Dak Prescott. He's got to get the hell out of Dallas. You know, he's choked a lot of games too, but staying. He's put up good numbers and still lose games lately. Chargers found a way to beat the Dolphins. How about that? I mean, I thought for sure the Dolphins were finally going to get off this losing streak. Nope. Chargers found a way to win. Another game-winning drive by Justin Herbert, setting up Dicker the kicker for the game winner. So yeah, Chargers found a way to win another close one. A game-winning field goal again. It's like the Denver Broncos game in Week 3. Chargers are just so dangerous in game-winning drives. Patriots covered pretty. I mean, they won by 6, but they covered the spread. It was 3.5. So Patriots looked great. Dallas coach sucks. Yeah, Schottenheimer, that was a bad hire after losing McCarthy. Brian Schottenheimer is terrible. He is nothing compared to his legendary father, who was a head coach for a long time. So he's nothing compared to Marty Schottenheimer. He's not even close to that level that his dad was. So that was a bad hire by Jerry Jones, for sure. The Cowboys made a lot of mistakes. Hiring a coach that was not a good move. Hiring Schottenheimer, and then you trade Micah Parsons away to the Packers. So they made a lot of bad moves. So the Patriots pretty much, I figured they were going to win. So it wasn't pretty. Saints made it close, but Patriots found a way to win it. Raiders surprised me. I really thought for sure the Titans were going to win. Nope, but the Raiders finally got the losing streak. First time since week 1. How about the Panthers, though? Absolutely. The Panthers, I mean, you made a take last week that I mean, you were talking about, like, the Panthers are making the playoffs. They look like it right now. They look like a team that can make the playoffs, honestly. They do. They really do look like a playoff team right now. They beat the Dallas Cowboys. They beat the Miami Dolphins. They got some confidence going right now. They might have a winning record by the end of the week when they play the Jets. They very well might. And of course, the Buccaneers won by double digits. They beat the 49ers, who were beat up. You knew the injuries were going to catch up to them eventually, the 49ers injuries. You knew. Baker Mayfield, you know, his receiving corps has been so beat up too, but he's just that guy right now. I think, yes, as much as I'm a Bills fan, I want to say Josh Allen MVP candidate, but right now, I think Baker Mayfield's a favorite to win the MVP. That's my take right now. Baker for MVP right now. Seriously. Him and Daniel Jones are battling up for it. I think Baker Mayfield's a clear candidate to win MVP right now. I mean, ever since he turned his career on a couple years ago at Tampa Bay, he's just on a different level. He's on an elite level. This is the prime of his career. He looked great in Cleveland, but just Cleveland made a dumb mistake by pulling him away. I just cannot believe that. And I called it last week that the Packers weren't going to win by 15 points or more. That was, you knew the Bengals would keep it close. I knew it was going to keep it close. You just knew the Packers weren't covering a big spread like that, especially the way they've been playing the last 3 games. Yes, they won, but still, like, they've not looked as good. The Packers are just honestly overrated as fuck right now. I mean, as soon as they got Micah Parsons, Green Bay fans were all jizzed up about it. They looked better, I will say, but still, like, they got to turn around and show that they're an elite team they better after the first 2 weeks. Let's see. Yo, hello. Yeah, Cuber. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Packers are overrated right now. They look like shit the last 3 games they played. Oops, wrong live. But yeah, that's what I really think. The Packers are not that good of a team, as everyone thought they were. And they almost lost to Joe Flacco again. Yes, Cuba, you're right. Your team has not been the same since week 2. That's a known fact. But Jordan Love, though, hitting that pass to Matthew Golden at the end there, pretty much sealed the deal in their win. I appreciate it, Cuba, for getting more subscribers. Yeah, appreciate it, yeah. Lions and the Chiefs. This was supposed to be one of the best games of the week, but then it turned out to be a Chiefs blowout. Worst of all, the losing the Lions were so mad that Brian Branch decided to sucker punch Juju Smith-Schuster after the game. Caused a huge altercation. Busted up Juju Smith-Schuster. So now Brian Branch is suspended for the Monday night game this week. And I'm sure Dan Campbell's pretty pissed, but damn, that's the only fight the Lions had in that game, let's be honest. Was the post-game altercation. That's the only fight the Lions had in that game. They didn't show up in the second half. And my Bills, I thought the Patriots game was bad, but this is way fucking worse. Don't get me wrong. The Falcons look great. They've been playing better. Bijan Robinson's a good hell of a running back. It's just like the fact that you're a Super Bowl contender team and you lose to the Falcons out of all teams. Come on, Buffalo. I mean, come on. You lose that one. Josh Allen, he's getting his ass kicked. I mean, the O-line's got to help him more. I mean, at the same time, I blame, Josh didn't look as great at times. He threw 2 interceptions. And, our offense, the opening drives, the first half and the second half, they scored touchdowns. After that, they couldn't score at the rest of the night. Just like, I just don't get it. Thank God they got a bye week this week because they need to fix it. Yes, they need that bye week for sure. Because we have looked like shit the last 2 games. We shit the bed against the Patriots, and then we shit the bed against the Falcons. This was worse. You lose by 10 by them. And let Bijan Robinson get the 81-yard touchdown. Our defense is so beat up, too. The thing is, our defense was killing us, too. Not just our offense. Defense has been a weak zone, and it's finally caught up to us, finally. And the Commanders choked an 8-point lead and lost the Chicago Bears. DeAndre Swift had his best game of the season for the Bears this year. Boy, he went crazy. I just cannot. The Bears found a way to win it. They've got revenge from that Hail Mary last year, so they might turn their season around. They've won 3-0. They're one of the hottest teams in the league. But yeah, let's make my picks for this week before I move on to college football. Starting with tomorrow's game, the Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Cincinnati Bengals here. The spread is 5.5, favored by the Steelers on the road in Cincinnati. I'm still gonna take the Steelers just cause. I know it's a short week, but it's just thinking that Steelers D is just so much better than they've been in the first few weeks. They looked great against the Patriots, where they forced 5 turnovers, and then they dominated the Vikings. They kept getting after Wentz, especially on 3rd down, forced a couple turnovers. And then this week, they just held the Browns out of the end zone the whole time. Held just only 3 field goals. And Aaron Rodgers looked great too. He's been well balanced. This offense has been well balanced. So I like the Steelers, but the Bengals. I'll keep on the Bengals. Could look better this past weekend, but still, I think Pittsburgh wins this one. Then we got the 3rd straight week, another London game. 4th straight week, an AM game. It's just wow. The international game, I tell you. It'll be the LA Rams and the Jacksonville Jaguars. This should be a really good one. Maybe this could top the Steelers-Vikings one, honestly. I really think it could. Just because the Jaguars are playing really good. And the Rams look good, too. So, this could be an offensive shootout, but this is in London. I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars since they have an annual London game. I got to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars since they always do well there in London. So, give me the Jags. Just because. I like that. Just because. The favoritism in there in London. The next game, the 1 o'clock stage, start of this one. The Las Vegas Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 11.5. I'll definitely take the Chiefs. I feel like they're back after that Lions game. So I think the Chiefs will cover easily. But although the Raiders have played them tough at times, especially last year in that one on Black Friday. So I like the Chiefs, though. I think they'll cover this one. I feel like they're starting to generate more because Rashee Rice will be back this week from suspension. Next is the toilet bowl, the who gives a fuck bowl kind of game. The Miami Dolphins at the Cleveland Browns, both 1-5, desperate for a win, getting their 2nd win. This one's a tricky one. The Browns are favored by 3.5. Dolphins though look a little bit better, but I like the Browns. I think the Browns defense is much better defense. I think they're gonna just give Tua a bunch of problems. I think the Browns get this one just because they've been so competitive. Yes, they played one of their worst games. They didn't score a touchdown last week against the Steelers. It's just because they were close to beating the Vikings. They knocked off Green Bay. They've also had other close games they could have won too. They almost beat the Bengals week 1. So thing is, they're not like really bad. They're in some of these games. They've been competitive. So I like the Cleveland Browns this one. Next, the New England Patriots at the Tennessee Titans. A lot of people think this could be a letdown for the Patriots. Maybe, but I just don't see it because Mike Vrabel wants to get back at his old team for firing him. The Tennessee Titans were his old team, co-head coach, and they fired him. So this is motivation for him, but he wants his players ready. Not just because of that, but just because. Now they're leading the division now because they beat the Bills head-to-head. I'll say the Patriots, they'll cover the spread, but just keep an eye on this one. If anyone could be an upset alert, that possibly could be one of those ones. Just keep an eye on that one. Saints at the Bears. Bears came off a huge one for the Commanders Monday night. Saints, meanwhile, tough loss at home against the Patriots in a close one. But I like the Bears this one to cover the spread. And also just because they're playing so much better. Their offense is finally showing up more. So I like Chicago in this one. Just because they're playing the Saints well, too. Next, this one's going to be a really good matchup. I feel like it's probably the best matchup for the 1 o'clock slate. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Minnesota Vikings. This is an interesting storyline. Eagles have lost their last 2 games in a row. Vikings, meanwhile, come off the bye week after trailing back-to-back weeks in London, and Dublin and all that, There's a good chance they could have J.J. McCarthy back for the Vikings. The Eagles are favored by 2.5 on the road. I mean, the spread could have been bigger if they would have won, but just the Eagles have not looked that good, honestly, at times this season. Especially the last 2. They looked all right in the Broncos, and then they just shit the bed. And last week they got absolutely slaughtered by the Giants. Cam Scatterbo just went off. Him and Jackson Dart, those rookies went off. So this one's gonna be a really fun one to watch. I just think it's because I don't know. Vikings looking better. Eagles desperate for a win after losing 2 in a row. But I'm gonna take the Eagles my pick of the week just because this is a pissed off Philly team getting their ass kicked on national television by the Giants. They're gonna be mad. They're gonna be fired up. They're gonna be ready. I think they'll be ready for this one. But I think they'll at least win by a field goal. The spread's 2.5. I think they'll still cover, but I will say it won't be don't win by a touchdown or something like that. Or well, no, it might be close. Just because I can see the Vikings keep us competitive and close the whole time. The Carolina Panthers and the New York Jets. This is an interesting one, but some think the Jets could actually win this one. No, this Panthers team is for real right now. Panthers will spread 1.5. They'll win in MetLife Stadium. They're going to get it done, get to winning record. I like Carolina this one just because they're playing better football. This one for the 4 o'clock slate is probably the best one. I know we'll be watching the Packers Cardinals more, but still, this Colts Chargers matchup is gonna be a fun one. Just because the offense for both teams. Justin Herbert, Justin Herbert's having a great year, of course, usual, but then Daniel Jones has been a surprise. This will be a fun one. I think the Colts will win it because the Chargers are just so beat up right now. I can see the Colts win this one. New York Giants at the Denver Broncos. Ugh. This one's a tough one to pick. The Giants have been playing so much better since they made the quarterback change. I'm going to say bench Russell Wilson and start the rookie. Include that win over the Eagles. Broncos, meanwhile, had an ugly win against the Jets in London last week. I think the Broncos will cover this week. But I'm kind of iffy on this one, this spread. It's just kind of an iffy one this week. This could be one of those like I changed like I did with the Baltimore and LA Rams last week. The Commanders at the Cowboys. This is a 4:25 start on Fox. Commanders coming off a loss, so are the Cowboys. Who wins? Who wants it more? I think the Commanders will. Just because that Cowboys D is just so bad, I think Jaden Daniels just picks them apart. That offense picks them apart. Washington gets back on track, gets a win. Give me the Washington Commanders. Green Bay Packers at the Arizona Cardinals. Packers, this got to be the game where they finally get back to their normal form from the first 2 weeks. I think this will be. Just because Arizona is just not that good, but they're still competitive. They almost knocked out the Colts, but I just think the Packers cover the spread this week. I like Green Bay in this one. The Atlanta Falcons at the San Francisco 49ers. This will be the Sunday Night Football game this week. An interesting one, But, the 49ers are looking good despite the injuries. Falcons came off a huge win with the Bills. I like the Atlanta Falcons just because they're riding with confidence right now. I think they'll get it done in San Francisco on Sunday Night Football. They'll win another primetime game, just like last week. And now next week, this is the final doubleheader of Monday Night Football. Thank God it'll be the last week of doubleheaders. After that, we'll be back to just one Monday night game instead of 2. First game will be at 7 o'clock on ABC and ESPN. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. This should be a really great one to watch. Goodness, Buccaneers playing just amazing offense. Lions, tough loss to the Chiefs, but they're still playing great football again. This would be a really good offensive display. But I think the Buccaneers receiving core injuries could catch up to them this one. I like the Detroit Lions. They might get Mike Evans back to Buccaneers. They might, but I don't know. I think Detroit will get a bounce back win at home. They do well coming off a loss, I will say. Detroit's done well coming off a loss. They look great against the Packers week 2 when they came off that loss to the Packers in week 1. So give me the Lions. And last but not least, the 10 o'clock game on Monday Night Football on ESPN. The Houston Texans at the Seattle Seahawks out west, out in Seattle. 3.5 the favor the Seahawks are. I think they won't cover. I like the Texans this one. It's just because they're riding the momentum coming off that win over the Ravens a couple weeks ago and they had the bye weeks. They got more time to prepare for this than the Seahawks did. Seahawks come off trip to Jacksonville, so yeah. But still, who knows what the time change could be? But I just like Houston just because I think C.J. Stroud is starting to build some confidence. Jackson Smith-Njigba, gotta be one of the best receivers in the league. Played an amazing game against them, the Jaguars. Looked great against the Buccaneers in that loss, But I like the Texans. I just think they're starting to click more. They're starting to finally click it. Finally, that team's starting to gel more. Now let's move on to college football. To finish off the night. Usually I start with college and start the NFL, but I just gotta mix it up a little bit this week because Bills are on a bye week. So the Virginia Tech, We had some good ones last week. Start off with Florida State losing again. I thought they're gonna beat Pitt, and they choked and lost by 10, and they're unranked. Florida State start out 3. They've lost their last 3. I don't know what's going on in Tallahassee, but Florida State, they got to turn around at some point. They look bad right now. Things are not looking good in Tallahassee right now. And Pitt, meanwhile, that's the quarterback change. They look great. Penn State lost again. They lost 3 straight now. They lost to Northwestern at home, and they just finally moved on from James Franklin. This was long overdue. The Penn State finally Penn State fans got their way. They finally got rid of James Franklin. He had a lot of success, but he just sucks in big games. He really does. So it was long overdue to move on from him. If you're a Penn State fan, seriously, if your fans were happy about that. Of course, who else we had? Alabama winning a crucial game in Missouri. So they've been hot since that opening loss of the season. So Alabama, they look great right now. Winning a close one in Missouri, a true road test. And Ohio State, a true road test against Illinois, because Illinois has been good, but Buckeyes proved me wrong again. Ohio State 6-0, still the number 1 team in the nation, right there. But this one really surprised me. Indiana is no doubt good, but they beat Oregon on the road by 10. So Indiana now moved up to number 3 in the ranking. So Indiana, man, they're playing really good right now. They're just better, just as good as last year's undefeated team. That started out at least 10 or 11-0. So they're having a good season again. Indiana had another pick up where they left off last year. Trying to do better and get to the Big Ten championship this time. The Red River rivalry. Texas beat Oklahoma. I'm surprised. I thought for sure Oklahoma was going to win, but Texas needed a little wake-up call after it lost to Florida, and it turned them around. Including me. I was criticizing them after that loss. There was one I didn't mention last week, but I did pick this one. I took Notre Dame. They beat NC State pretty easily, so the Notre Dame won 4 in a row since they started 0-2. And my Virginia Tech Hokies got spanked by Georgia Tech. I was hoping they'd keep it close, but Georgia Tech is for real. Virginia Tech just looked. We kind of made it interesting in the second half, but just Georgia Tech was too much. I think Virginia Tech has a bye week too. We had an upset there. Iowa State falls to Colorado. Did not see that coming. So yeah, Colorado gets the win in that one. Michigan gets absolutely spanked by USC. Cannot believe that one. I had Michigan win that one, but USC exposed them. And Auburn, I thought they're going to pull it off, but they choked. They couldn't score in the second half. Georgia just outscored them. Georgia ended up winning by 10, but Georgia found a way to win on the road, a true road test in Auburn. That was a much-needed win for them. Texas A&M dominated Florida. Off to their best start since 2016, 6-0 now. They're having a good start now. Yeah, those are your college football picks from last week, recap from last week's. Let's move on to this week's games. We got some good ones. Starting with Friday night, 2 really good ones. Louisville at number 2, Miami. Louisville is my team I had picked to win the ACC. They're gonna be really in a tough one with Miami, number 2 Miami. But this one I could see Miami slipping up because Miami have been looking down, but I got Louisville in this one as my upset pick. Number 2 Miami goes down at home. Louisville gets it done. I just think they can keep their name in the conversation for the AC Championship. I think Louisville wins this one. In a true tough environment like Miami, they'll win this one. Nebraska, number 25, back finally in the rankings. They take on Minnesota on the road. That'll be a Friday night traditional Big Ten game on Fox or something like that. So, I'm going to go Nebraska in this one just because they're a dark horse candidate still for the playoffs or possibly the Big Ten championship still. I think they're in the mix still. So, I like Nebraska in this one. Now the noon slate for the Saturday games. Vanderbilt and LSU. This is a really good SEC matchup on ABC at noon. Vanderbilt playing they've been amazing again. He has to beat my Hokies again, but still, they're playing a really good season again. They're still in the rankings after the best start. Could be better than last year's team. They're against a top 10 team like LSU. I think Vanderbilt beats LSU this weekend. Usually I'd say LSU, but this Vanderbilt team looks amazing. This Diego Pavia. He's been so fun to watch the last two seasons. And I think Vanderbilt gets another true top 10 win at home. That's like they did last year against Alabama. I can see that win this one. Noon on ESPN, Georgia Tech, a true road test against Duke. Georgia Tech will win this one, but barely. Duke will throw everything they can to win this one. I wouldn't be surprised at all in that one. So I got Duke win. I got Georgia Tech win this one for Duke, but still, Duke is going to be giving them fits. This one's a no-brainer pick. Ohio State against Wisconsin. I got the Buckeyes. I learned my lesson for pick against them twice. Buckeyes will win this one because Wisconsin football. The Badgers, they used to be so good. They haven't been good since Jonathan Taylor. So I got Ohio State in this one. Texas A&M at Arkansas. This could be. Texas A&M could be testing this one, but I still think they'll win this one. Just because they're having a good year. I think they cannot slip up against Arkansas. So I got Texas A&M win this one. Another SEC matchup. This will be an ABC. This is a top 10 matchup. This is where college game needs to be at. It's at Athens, Georgia. Ole Miss going into Georgia. They beat Georgia last season. They won't win this. They won't beat Georgia this time. I got Georgia win this one just because, I learned from picking against them last week. And plus, they're not going to lose Ole Miss 2 times in a row. Two seasons in a row. They're not going to have that happen. 6:30 on the Big Ten Network. Oregon heads to Rutgers. East Coast trip for Oregon this week. Will they bounce back after a loss to Indiana? The answer, yes. Oregon will dominate this one. Not because Rutgers, it's just because they took a tough loss to Indiana. Rutgers is one of the expensive tickets for college football this weekend because there'll be a lot of Oregon fans, I feel like. But then again, Rutgers fans are pretty decent too. They've been playing so much better in recent years than they used to be. Now you got the prime. Now you got another night game too. Texas at Kentucky. Texas got a huge win over Oklahoma, and I think they'll keep the momentum going. They'll win in Kentucky. They'll get it done. Take care of business, no problem. That'll be an ESPN. Penn State, first game since they fired their coach, and also their quarterback goes down with a season-ending injury. Will they turn it around? Yes. Here's why. Iowa's good, don't get me wrong, but just because Penn State's had Iowa's number, so I got to go Penn State in this one. I just think they're due for one. I think, especially with the new coach, too. The coaching change will turn their season around. It's like the Nittany Lions. 7:30 on ABC. This is a really good matchup. Tennessee at Alabama. The third Saturday of October, they call this one. This rivalry game. Last year, Tennessee beat them at home. This time it's in Alabama. It's in prime time this year. Oh, Alabama's been playing some really good football since that loss. I think they're due for a loss. So give me the Tennessee Volunteers. Aguilar's played amazing. He looked good in the game one against Syracuse. I've seen him in other games, but still, they were close to beating Georgia too. So Tennessee, they're going to knock off Alabama this week. Give me the Vols. Next, Notre Dame at US. Notre Dame hosting USC. This is a crucial game for Notre Dame if I want to back in the playoff conversation. And I think Notre Dame will get it done and get their 5th straight win. USC looked great against Michigan, but I just think Notre Dame gets it done. And last but not least, Pitt at Syracuse. This is a good old-fashioned Northeast rivalry. They used to be in the Big East, but now they're ACC rivals. This rivalry's been going for a very long time. And this is a prime time in the Carrier Dome. Should be a fun one to watch. But I like Pitt in this one. It's just because the quarterback change helped. And also, Syracuse, hasn't found their edge since the quarterback got down with the season-ending injury. And just because, they They just haven't been the same since they won over Clemson. After that season-ending injury, they're such a different team since they lost Angeli for the year. I could be wrong, but just Pitt feeling some momentum after that win in Florida State last week. So I like the Pitt Panthers in this one, not even close. Thank you all for tuning in this week. I will see you all next week, same time, same place. But this will be 9:30 again because I got the kickball playoffs next week. So I'll see you all next week.